Hey, welcome. Today we're going to tackle a topic that sounds like it was pulled straight out of a sci-fi novel, chromato-optogenetics. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know, but you're going to want to stick with me on this one, because it gets right to the heart of a huge question about the future of our health. So let's just put the big question right on the table. Can we really use something as basic as light to actually heal our bodies from deep within? I mean, it sounds pretty out there, right? But that's the core idea we're diving into. We all get the basics of our relationship with light. Sunlight wakes us up, it runs our internal clock, that whole circadian rhythm thing. But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if our connection to light is way, way deeper than we ever imagined?
All right, let's get into it. For any of this to make sense, we first have to figure out how our bodies are even wired to receive these light signals. Where's the main switch?
Well, according to the scientific model we're looking at, it all kicks off with our eyes. Think about it. They're not just for seeing. They're the main entry point, the front door, for light to come in and give directions to the rest of our body. So if the eye is the gateway, what do you call the actual science of using light on purpose to steer our biology? Well, that brings us right back to that big word.
And there it is, in all its glory, the official definition: the deliberate use of defined light spectra, spatiotemporal dosing, and field conditions to steer biological state. Okay, that's a ton of jargon, I get it, but just focus on the core ideas, using the right light at the right time to guide our biology.
And the cool thing is, the word itself kind of tells the whole story if you break it down. You've got chroma, which is all about the color or the spectrum of light, then opto, which means using that light to control something, and finally, genetics, because the ultimate goal here is to talk directly to our cells. Now, this whole idea didn't just pop up out of thin air. It's actually built on the work of some other really cool fields. It pulls from optogenetics, using light to control cells, and photobiomodulation, which is basically using light to encourage healing. And it all works by sending signals through our body's internal internet, the ECM, to actually change the memory of our cells, which is a field we call epigenetics. Okay, so what does this look like in action? How would it actually work? Well, the paper lays out this amazing chain reaction, almost like a cascade of dominoes, that all starts with a single pulse of light. So let's trace the path. First, a very specific kind of light hits your eye. Second, that signal doesn't just stop there. It travels deep into your body. Third, once it gets where it's going, it starts to influence things like cellular energy and blood flow. And finally, and this is the real kicker, these changes can actually stick around, creating a new, lasting memory in your cells. And the end game here? It is seriously ambitious. We're not just talking about a temporary fix. The ultimate goal is to actually guide our own stem cells to kickstart regeneration all across the body. It's about using light to unlock the healing potential we already have inside us. But just when you think you've got this all figured out, the story takes a really interesting twist. It turns out there's more than one way people are thinking about this. Yeah, that super precise, super medical framework we just walked through, that's one version of the story. But believe it or not, there's another, much broader interpretation out there. And you can see the difference right here. On one side, you have the scientific model, a precise medical tool using specific light. But on the other side, you have this bigger, more holistic idea. It's not just about light, but about sound and even music, with the goal of hitting a reset button for all our body systems. It's less of a tool and more of a philosophy. And this quote from the other perspective really says it all. After all the talk about frequencies and scales, it boils down to something incredibly simple, just getting back out into nature to restore who we're meant to be. So, what do we do with all this? We've got one term that points to two totally different paths. Let's try to wrap our heads around what this really means. At the end of the day, it's a tale of two visions. You have the potential for a precise medical tool on one hand, light as a surgical instrument. And on the other, you have a holistic philosophy, light and sound as a way to find natural harmony. And that really leaves us with a final fascinating question to chew on. Is the future of healing found in a lab with a precise prescription of light? Or is it something much simpler, waiting for us just outside our door? Maybe the real answer is a bit of both. It's a heck of a thing to think about. Thanks for exploring it with me.